es cierto que todos los caminos conduzcan a Roma. Los lugares donde podemos ir son casi infinitos. ¿Ya decidiste dónde quieres ir hoy? Piénsatelo bien para no equivocarte. Toma en cuenta que el tablero de ajedrez ha cambiado. Hoy el rey se ha enterado que va desnudo. Y cuando el poderoso lo olvida, la verdad se encarga de desnudarlo. Hay que tener talento para pensar fuera de la caja, para combatir los prejuicios, los ajenos, pero sobre todo los propios. Cada quien posee una pieza única del rompecabezas. Por eso intentamos dialogar, para armarlo juntos. La palabra nos libera y la conversación nos empareja. Aquí no hay lugar común. Buenas noches. No hay lugar común y como lo prometimos el sábado pasado, continuamos la conversación hoy con Paul Auster. Paul, thank you very much for being here. 2 Saturdays in a row. It's a great thing for our audience. You're talking about your father, about your biography as a material for your writing. And I have a quote from another French, Michel de Montaigne, that said, "I study myself more than any other subject. This is my metaphysic." You know your biography. You know yourself well. You know the life or the biography of your father, your family. I've been using this as material for your writing.
To some degree, I know things. There are a lot of blanks, a lot of things I'll never know. But in general, I know the outlines of the story, and I know what I've seen with my own eyes. But I don't know what my father was like as a boy. I wasn't with him in high school. I didn't see him flirting with girls when he was 20. I don't know a million things about him. The one thing about my father, just to finish this, is that because he was a hidden person, and because he had reservoirs of anger and unhappiness in him, but also great reservoirs of kindness. His problem was he could not reveal to himself to the people he was most intimate with, his wife and his children. But
he was unable to do it.
Yes, but with outsiders, he was like a saint. He was so kind to other people, and you know he owned buildings in poor neighborhoods. And when I was a little boy, he used to take me around collecting rent. Can you imagine being 6 and 7 years old and going into black houses? No white boy in my circumstances was exposed to the world of black people the way I was. And I'm telling you, they loved him. He was so kind and...
You grew up in Newark.
Newark. This was in Newark and Jersey City, but then we were in the suburbs, you know, in a nice house with a nice lawn and pretty place. But you know, if they couldn't pay, it's all right. You know, we'll let it go for a week or two. And old men would come to him with their most valuable possessions, their watch or whatever, because they were afraid it would be robbed, and he'd put it in a safe in the office for them. And I think one of the most touching things was a letter that I found after he died, and it's in The Invention of Solitude. A woman who, I don't know, 10 years before had left one of his apartments owing him $40 in rent. And 10 years later, she paid it. And she wrote him a letter, very ungrammatical, you know, badly written letter, but very moving, about how kind he had been to her and her children, and how much it meant to her. And she's thought about it all these years, and here is your money, because you were so good to us. And then finally, in the last years of his life, my father went on living in the house where we had all lived as a family, but alone. And I got a letter from a woman who lived next door to him. They had little children. And she wrote me a letter. She said, "You have no idea how kind your father was to our children." And he would buy them winter play suits, you know, winter clothes and things, just presents. He would give it to them. So it was a lot
What's new for you?
No, every time I hear one of these stories about him,
like if he has many lives of this.
It's a gift to me. Yeah. It's a gift to me, and I understand how complex a human being he was, and how you can't ever say just one thing about another human being.
Nonetheless, I want to talk about Siri.
Well, I'm happy to talk about her.
Okay.
But not about our marriage. The only thing I'll say about our marriage is the 37 years we're together. Yeah. So.
Well, I want to quote her now.
Okay.
Okay. You share she did. It's a very interesting thing that she said. She says, marriage is an organic rather than a mechanic thing. And I love this.
She's right. And we've talked about this.
Why a marriage is an organic and not a mechanic thing?
Well, to explicate what she means is, she says there are love relations that are like machines. They repeat all the time. The same problems, the same resolutions, and then
generation after generation.
No, just in the course of a couple.
Okay.
And that it starts to wear down, and a machine breaks. It just breaks. But an enduring connection between two people is organic in the sense that things keep changing. She uses a tree as the metaphor for, say, a long marriage. Sometimes, you know, the tree gets sick. One branch is no good. Well, you cut it off and patch it up, and then the rest of the tree continues to grow. And that's really what a long marriage is. It's you're not going along smoothly every day. There are always problems that arise. But I guess it's the ability of the two people to want to fix whatever problems you've created for yourselves and figure out new ways of coexisting happily.
37
that's
years
what she means.
It's a long marriage.
Well, it is. It is. Yeah, it's more than half my life now. Yeah. Yeah.
Paul, you participated in 67 in young people demonstrations. I mean, this is a movement that is close to you.
And particularly 68.
68.
At Columbia University.
Now it's 50 years going to be next year.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would like you to compare this generation of you and the generation that they are now they have 20 years and they're demonstrating you in different ways. But
well, I think I've been very disappointed in the years since the 60s, early 70s, to see how disaffected young people in America were, how apoliticized they were, not getting involved, not seeming to care. Well, we're living through a very rough moment now, as you know, not just in America, but just about everywhere.
It's a global thing.
It's a global thing. And suddenly, finally, people in America seem to have woken up. And for the first time in almost 50 years, there's a new activism that has taken over, and I just pray that it continues and it's not an ephemeral event that.
When you talk about an activism, Trump will spoke about or would tell about MAGA, Great America, Great Again. This is an activism. This is a form of activism. On the other hand, you have Occupy Wall Street. This is another kind.
But
which kind of
Occupy
activism?
Wall Street just vanished.
Yeah,
it was there, it looked promising, and then it vanished. What I'm most encouraged by is that there's a new activism in the United States among women. Okay. Women are the future of our country. And women have spearheaded the whole thing, starting with that enormous march back in January. And then lots of women, you'll see, in 2018, next year, are going to be running for office. And I think they have more to contribute than men right now. I think they're the future of the left. And they're doing it outside of the Democratic Party also. Yeah. It's rising up spontaneously in their various areas of the country. And the Democrats are going to have to run behind to catch up with what these people are doing.
You define yourself as a feminist.
Oh, absolutely.
But what does that mean for you now to be a feminist?
I mean, absolutely equal rights for women, absolutely, on every front. And men and women are equal. Women deserve to make the same salaries that men make. They deserve to have their bodies respected. We've gone through this whole crazy deluge of revelations about men in high positions abusing women, harassing women, raping women. Well, this is unacceptable. Women are artists and writers of just as great potency and interest and even genius as men. Women have always been relegated to the margins, particularly in the visual arts, but it's just not true. And so women deserve full and absolute equality in everything pertaining to human life. And they deserve control over their bodies, which means the right to end a pregnancy if they choose to do that.
I need to talk with you about Donald Trump. But I'm going to take again this quote from Montaigne. Montaigne said, "I study myself more than any other subject." Do you think Trump studied himself as any other subject?
No, he's a man without reflection.
Without reflection. Let me cut and we'll come back.
Yeah.
De vuelta en No hay lugar común con Paul Auster. Paul, I was asking you, Donald Trump has a favorite topic himself, but he doesn't study himself. So that's a problem.
No, he's what Siri would call malignant narcissist.
Malignant narcissist.
Malignant narcissist. This is a clinical term. And he's a person who needs to be looked at by others and listened to by others. What he wants to be, I think he thought he was running for dictator rather than, he doesn't understand the system of government we supposedly live under in the United States. And that's what he wants. He wants people listening and watching. And it really doesn't matter what he says, just as long as the eyes and ears of others are upon him. Because he's a person who has, the emotional maturity of a 2-year-old. He's a baby. He's a baby in diapers, wanting mommy and daddy to look at him. And he'll do any kind of outrageous thing to get that attention.
I know, very worried about Trump, but about people that vote for Trump.
I agree with you, and I've said the same thing. Because the fact that malignant narcissists like Donald Trump exist, well, we know that.
There are many.
We know that. But they don't become president of the United States. He did. And so there's another component to all this. And I think that Trump is a man of very deep resentments. He has his own resentments that are different from the resentments of the people who vote for him. But they have resentments too. And they see in his anger about the world an anger that mirrors theirs, and they can connect with him. And therefore they feel
anger is the glue?
that he's speaking to them, directly, personally to them. And therefore, no matter what other thing he might do, they don't care, because he belongs to them. Now, another thing that I misunderstood, and it's because of my own lack of vigilance. I don't watch television very much in America. I didn't realize that he had a TV show that 20 million people watched every week. I just didn't follow this. I knew he had the show, but I didn't know how popular it was. Now, if you have 20 million people every week loving what you do, that is really already a political base. It's quite extraordinary, because he won the whole election with 60 million votes. So he had 1/3 of what he needed already from his TV followers. And I just didn't pay attention. I didn't realize that he was so famous across the country. I thought he was just a local New York buffoon.
Yeah? Atlantic City.
Yeah. But look, America has always been a country torn between a tremendous anti-intellectualism and a love of learning. But both simultaneous. We have some of the best universities in the world. We have some of the smartest people in the world.
Absolutely.
But we also have a huge chunk of the country that hates all this.
If I have a conversation like this, I love America. If
Yeah.
I see Trump, I can't believe that you are from this same
exactly,
culture.
exactly. So this anti-intellectualism goes way back. I mean, de Tocqueville writes about this, you know, when he was visiting America in the 1830s. It's part of us.
Have you ever seen that in politics? I mean, that it was a politician running for office with this speech
not
against
on this
intellectual
on a
change?
national scale.
Okay.
A local, yeah, there have been people like this, but not on the national scale. And I agree, it's the people who voted for him that we have to worry about. And you see, ironically, a lot of them are the same people who voted for Obama. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they're voting for, really. They know that they hate the other people. They know that they hate the
establishment.
They hate the establishment. They hate the people in the big cities. They hate the Ivy League intellectuals. They don't like that. No, they hate the non-religious people, the atheists.
Mm-hmm.
They hate the pro-abortion people.
The progressive people.
The progressive people. Yeah, I mean the idea of a Democrat for them is something close to a monster.
I feel you're optimistic, nonetheless. I feel that, I mean, what's going to be the next life or the next reincarnation of the American culture? What is your...
I don't know. I don't know. I really tell you, I'm actually more pessimistic right now than I've been. Back in the 60s, when we were fighting against the Vietnam War and fighting for civil rights, I was optimistic. I thought then, you know, we were going to stop the war, we were going to change the country for the better. Well, I was wrong. The right wing won. You know, Barry Goldwater really won the argument, and then Nixon won in '68. By 1980, when Reagan was elected president, everything changed. And we've been going backwards ever since 1980. Listen, even when Bill Clinton was elected president, to save the Democratic Party, he destroyed it. He turned the Democrats into a form of the Republicans. Mm-hmm. And the Democrats have never quite found their footing since. And, you know, the Democrats used to fight for working class people and the downtrodden, the poor, but not anymore. They're not doing it. They're not doing it the way they should. And that's very disappointing to me.
Paul, Mexico loved your novels, your writing, you are very sharp people here. What is your relationship with Mexico? What is your experience and how are you seeing Mexico in this difficult and complex relationship with the States?
I'm trying to remember. I think this is the 5th time I've come to Mexico. The first time I came here, it was during the period when I was living in Paris.
Okay, and why?
Because I did jobs for a movie producer there, you know, to earn money, and his wife was Mexican, and she had been commissioned to write a book about Quetzalcoatl,
okay.
And he wanted me to help her write the book, and he sent me to Mexico in 1972 to help her.
Okay. This is Kennedy's time, no? 60...
No, 72.
72. Okay.
This is Richard Nixon's time. Richard Nixon's time. And I wound up spending a month in the village of Tepoztlan.
Okay.
And,
it's a nice place.
And she never wanted to do the work because she was having emotional problems at the time.
With the producer?
Well, not the husband. She had a boyfriend who left her. I mean, it's such a complicated story. But I walked into this, and nothing got done. And it was one of the strangest months of my life. Okay. The first person I ever met in Mexico City, it was the boyfriend of her sister. He was a Marxist professor at the university. And we shook hands. I had just arrived from France. I was very tired. I had a fever. I was sick. And we shook hands. I sat down, and he leaned across the chair, and he looked at me and said, "I'm going to kill you. I don't like you at all. I'm going to kill you." So that was the first Mexican man I ever talked to.
And you felt American there in Mexico.
Yeah.
What did you respond to that?
I didn't even know what to think. I didn't know what to think. I was so bewildered.
So you left the Postland and you
Yes.
never go back.
Well, no, I haven't been back. But then,
Okay.
you know, the other times I've been here have been later, you know, since I've been a writer. And I've been treated so beautifully by everybody, every time. And I don't think any country has been more generous to me than Mexico.
You know, I don't believe when people say that you are more loved in Europe than in the States. And now I don't think that this is true. But what is true is that you are as loved in Mexico as in Europe. I mean, here you are a writer of cult. And I don't know what exactly is what connects with your writing, your experience, your sincerity, your intimacy.
I can't comment on that. I have no idea. I just do my work. I try the best I can. And I'm not thinking about how it's affecting other people. I just don't know. I don't know.
How literature, how culture, how what you are doing now can bring people together? How can erase barriers or borderlines? Or
Well, listen.
how to build a global community?
I mean, I keep hearing from people, not just here, but in all the travels I've done in recent months, people keep thinking that art can somehow solve social problems. This is not true.
Okay.
No, it's not true. An artist makes art. An artist makes art, and he's responsible, or she is responsible, for doing the best art possible. Period. Book, painting, film, piece of music, whatever. That's your obligation. But when we're talking about novels, I have to just try to underscore this point, which is really at the heart of the whole matter. The novel is already a statement of democracy. You see, a novel, just in the very, by the very fact that it exists, is a political statement. Because, you see, literature in the past was about kings and queens, and princes and generals, right? Heroes. The novel is about ordinary people, people like us, like everyone in this room. This is what novels are about.
Okay.
No. And so the novel postulates that every life is interesting, every life is worth examining, every life has value. And so if I can write a novel, a great novel about a little old lady who sells flowers on the street of New York or Mexico City, and I can really capture her, and you as a reader are able to enter the skin of that little old woman, that's what art does. It's not changing the economic policy of a country. It's increasing your own humanity and your solidarity with other people who are not you, who are not even like you. This is what art can do.
Straight answer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you little questions, and whatever you think at the moment of hearing me, you answer, please. Favorite word?
Favorite world?
Word.
Word.
Yeah.
A favorite word. Listen, if a writer has a favorite word, he can't be a very good writer. I think that's a road we don't want to go down.
The word that you hate?
The word that I hate? Donald Trump.
A favorite sound?
Favorite sound?
Yeah.
Favorite sound. What's a favorite sound? I don't know, wind blowing through the trees on a late summer night.
The sound that you hate?
The drills in the street, digging up the pavement in the morning when I'm trying to sleep. Yes.
I share this. I can connect with you. Have you not been a writer or poet, maker? What would be your profession?
Well, the only other thing that I would have, I think, found great joy doing, but alas, I have no ability to do it, is music.
Okay. Piano?
Anything connected to music. But Siri and I have the great joy of having produced a daughter who's a singer and a songwriter. And
You're living by...
we have the most talented person. You know, not to brag, but Sophie just won Singer of the Year in Spain.
She's so successful.
She is, well, she's coming up. She's coming up in the world. But she has an extraordinary voice. And it gives me such joy to listen to her songs and to watch her perform. So, so this music, this love of music came out in her, and she's really fantastic.
Do you believe in God?
No.
No. Anything like God?
Well, I believe that man did not make the universe.
Okay. You're going to leave this world one day. What would you like this being tell you when you leave this world?
But there is no being that's going to tell me anything. I'm just going to be dirt in the ground. That's all I'm going to be.
You will be remembered really good. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
For being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
was really great honor. Cerramos No hay lugar común. Nos vemos próximo sábado, ADN 47.